Hey everyone, it's Homeschool Shenanigans with
Molly and Shasta.
And today we are talking about what, Molly?
We're talking about Greece and Greek mythology.
Yeah, so we did a lot of learning last week, did some really cool stuff that we want to share with you. I knew nothing about Greek mythology, so I learned just as much as Molly did. I think Molly knew more about Greek mythology than I did. So I think to start, we got to talk about where is Greece? So Greece is a country in where, Molly?
In
Europe, right?
Europe.
So we're gonna show you. We took out our atlas, and we looked at where's Canada in the world, right? And so Canada.
way here.
Yep. And we live about in the middle. Saskatoon is in the middle, and Europe is this group of countries right here, right? Yeah, right. These right here, right, Molly? And so we have to, if we want to fly to Europe, we have to get on a plane and we need to fly. No, not that way. We fly this way across the Atlantic, right? So so Europe would be right here if the pages were side by side. Yeah. And so we have to fly over the ocean, and it takes many long hours, right? We've done that flight a lot of times, right, Molly? Right. So the other thing we looked at, we zoomed in on the map of Europe. I don't know if you can see this really well, but Molly was really lucky, and she got to live in Europe for a couple of years. And where did we
right
live,
here.
Molly?
The Czech Republic.
So that pink little dot there is the Czech Republic, which is just north of Greece. And Greece is a whole bunch of islands right here. So we learned something really interesting about Greece. What did we learn? It is how many islands?
It is
6,000 islands.
6,000 islands.
But only 227 of them actually have people living in them. So the neat thing is when we looked at this map, Molly colored all the countries that she visited while we were living in Europe. Molly, do you want to tell us which ones you went to?
So I went to France, the Netherlands,
Yep.
which is basically Holland,
Yep.
Germany,
Yep.
Sweden,
Yep.
Austria,
Yep.
and the Czech Republic.
And then we went to an island called Lanzarote.
Lanzarote and the Canary Islands.
Yeah, which is owned by Spain, and it's down here because it's off the coast of Africa. So we got to look at our map, which was super cool. So the other thing we learned about Greece's flag is blue and white with a cross, right, Moss? Yeah, yeah. And so, and the capital of Greece is Athens. So that's the major city. And the capital of Canada is what, Molly? Another city that we used to live in.
Toronto?
No, what city did we live in? You're not in the camera.
Oh.
We lived in Ottawa, right? And
Yeah.
Ottawa is the capital of Canada. And do you know what the capital of Saskatchewan is? Regina.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not Saskatoon, although I think Saskatoon wants to be. So that was really interesting. So Molly, can you explain to us what Greek mythology is?
Greek mythology is made up of creatures, gods and goddesses, and, of course, heroes. And today we are going to talk about our birth signs in the sky.
Yeah.
And a lot of other different things.
Yeah, so Greek mythology is a bunch of stories about the kind of the rules and the laws of the gods, goddesses, and heroes and creatures that existed at that time. And another fun fact about Greece is they were the first ones to create the Olympics, right? So what we learned is that there are a lot of gods and goddesses, but the stories started because of the Olympian brothers. And the Olympian brothers were who, Molly?
Okay. Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades.
So Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades were three brothers. And they were considered the Olympian brothers. And they had to overtake their father, Cronus, who was a Titan. And the Titans were not nice people. And so they had a big battle, right? And they won. And when they won, each of the brothers became gods of a certain place, right? So Molly's going to tell you about where each of them became gods.
So Zeus got the lightning bolt,
So
and
each-
he rules the sky.
Yeah, so each god or goddess has a symbol that they represent, and they have a power. So they're a god or goddess of something. And the men actually get like a tool or something that's kind of magical, right? So Zeus got the symbol lightning bolt because he is the goddess of the sky, right?
You said
God.
goddess.
The god of the sky, right? And he rules from where, Molly?
He rules from the clouds.
Yeah, from Mount Olympus, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about Zeus is he had a lot of wives and he has a lot of different children, eh? So he moved around quite a bit. And then Poseidon is the god of the what?
The sea, and he got the trident.
And what's a trident, Molly?
A trident is a staff with a fork-like top,
Yeah, cool.
but it only has 3 points.
And it's very powerful, isn't it? Yeah,
It can make whirlpools right in front of your eyes.
amazing. And so then Hades had what?
The helmet of invisibility.
And he ruled where?
The underworld.
That sounds like a scary place, doesn't it? So then there's lots of gods and there's lots of goddesses, but we picked 3 goddesses to kind of read about. Well, we read about more than 3, but we want to tell you about 3. So we want to tell you about who?
We want to tell you about Aphrodite.
And who is Aphrodite?
Aphrodite was the wife of Hephaestus.
Hephaestus was another god. And he was this...
She is the goddess of love and beauty.
Yeah.
And her symbols are swans and doves.
Nice. So birds, eh?
Birds.
So Hephaestus...
Hephaestus.
was the son of Zeus.
And Hera.
And
And he
married Aphrodite, right?
Yeah.
And he was the god of fire. Yeah. So then who else do we want to talk about from a
We
goddess?
want to talk about Artemis.
Artemis.
Artemis was the daughter of Zeus and a nymph.
A nymphleto, right?
Nymphleto.
And
And she is the goddess of the moon. And she is twin sister of Apollo. Apollo is the sun god.
Yep.
He's right over here.
Yeah. And
Apollo is
also the son of Zeus.
and a nymph. And he is the god of light and music.
And his symbol is a dolphin, hey?
Yes.
And so...
A crow or a dolphin.
A crow or a dolphin. And then there's Athena, and we're going to share with you, we're going to do a little play for you about the story of Athena and Medusa later. We're going to do that in a separate video.
Later.
So tell us about Athena, Molly, because Athena's a pretty amazing goddess, isn't she?
Athena. The goddess, the goddess
No.
and daughter of Zeus.
Yep.
And she is the goddess of wisdom and agriculture.
Yeah, so of gardening, right? Yeah.
Daughter.
And so her symbol is the olive tree, right? Yeah, that's cool. So then in all of the stories, there's always some sort of a creature or a monster. And so we learned about a lot of them. So Molly, do you want to name all the ones that we read about? Because we read about a lot of them, but we're going to share the specifics about...
Hi.
Okay.
Centaur, Chimera, Medusa, Minotaur. Not Minotaur. Phoenix. Pegasus.
Yeah. So we learned a lot about our monsters and our are creatures from this amazing book called The Atlas of Monsters and Ghosts. And it is a book that Molly got from her tante, which means auntie in Dutch. And it has a whole section of each
About
of every
Greece.
of Greece.
And every single other country.
Yeah, so it shows you an atlas of where all the different creatures live. And then it shows you the pictures and the write-up. And Molly's going to read to you. She was really interested in the centaur, right?
Uh-huh.
So Molly's going to read this to you. Whoops.
Okay.
So I'm going to hold the book so that you can see this.
Okay. Centaurs. Characteristics. A centaur has the body of a horse and the torso of a man, and embodies characteristics of both. At times, this creature can be incredibly wise, but he can also be very violent and uncouth. Due to his unpredictable nature, don't get too close. Centaurs are Greek. Some centaurs have horns. The most famous centaur is Chiron.
And what we learned about centaurs is that if they have horns, they live on the island of Crete, right, Molly?
Yes.
And that's where Molly's papu is from. So Molly's papu, and papu means grandpa in Greek, is from Greece, from the island of Crete, which is pretty cool. But we also learned is that centaurs, there was no female or girl centaurs, right? They were just boys. So what we did is we created our own monsters that we want and creatures that we want to share with you. But Molly wants to read a few more things. She wants to show you a chimera, right?
Chimera.
Oh, chimera. I'm not good at the names. I think it's on the next page, right, Molly?
Yeah, it's on the next page.
So a chimera is...
A chimera.
Yeah.
The chimera is a monster with 3 heads, one of a lion, main one of a goat on her back, and one of a snake on the end of her tail. She breathes fire and strikes with her serpent tail. The venomous bite kills her enemies quickly. To go up against her, you will need fireproof clothes and antidote.
Yep, for the poison.
For the poison.
Wow. And then Molly wants to tell you about the phoenix.
Phoenix. The phoenix is also known as the firebird because it can be reborn from its ashes. A majestic sight. The brightly colored feathers make it an inspiring, mysterious, and formidable creature.
Wow, those are a lot of big words. Good for you, Molly.
And also, if you don't know this is one of the firebird's powers, the phoenix's powers. If the phoenix cries, it cries tears that will heal you if you have any wounds.
Oh, did you learn that from Harry Potter? Because I think the phoenix comes and saves Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So the next thing that we wanted to share with you, I think, is our own monsters, hey, that we made in creatures. And so what we did is what we learned, which was really interesting, is that some of the stories of Greek mythology are based on our birthdays, right? And so we learned about astrology, right? And that astrology is a story about a constellation. And a constellation is what, Molly? A group of
stars.
Yeah, that make some sort of a pattern, right? Like the big...
Or a picture.
Picture, right? And so depending on when you were born during the year, each month of birth has a different astrological sign. And so I was born in January, so I'm a Capricorn, and Molly was born in
November.
And you're a
Scorpio.
Right. And so,
So the story of the Capricorn is a very complicated story.
Yeah.
But actually, a Capricorn isn't just
what is
a
it?
cat and a unicorn. It isn't.
No,
It's a water goat.
sea goat, right?
Sea goat.
Yeah, and you're a Scorpio. So when we created our creatures, we gave them birth dates, and Molly's going to share with you the characteristics of her creature that she made, as well as tell you the story of Taurus, which is because her creature was born in May, which is Taurus. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to hold up your really awesome painting that we made, and Molly's going to tell you about
My really awesome thingy.
Yeah.
Okay. The name is Iris.
And what is Iris, Molly?
Iris is a Bentor.
A Bentor. So we made this up. So it's a Bentor because it's part what?
Butterfly and centaur.
Centaur. And what is a centaur, Molly? Because we never told them.
A centaur she's a centaur. Centaurs are half human, half horse.
Half human, half horse. So horse on the bottom, human on the top, and then a little bit of butterfly to give it a little bit. And then we put these stars up here to say that that's what she would look like as a constellation if she was immortal, right? Which she will. Yeah. So that's Iris. And so let's talk about the characteristics of Iris, Molly.
Okay. Characteristics. Fun and caring. She's fun and caring.
Yeah, and what else?
She's a centaur. Centaurs are half human, half horse.
Yep. And what's her power?
Her power is to turn things to gold.
Oh.
And the reason how is because she has gold hooves.
Wow.
And a gold tail.
Wow. And what's her symbol, Molly? Molly drew her symbol.
Her symbol is crossed arrows. And
Do you wanna
I drew the crossed arrows right here.
Oh, great. Great. And so then what are her strengths, Molly?
Her strengths are baking.
Yep. And she's the goddess of what, Molly?
She is the goddess of beauty and wisdom.
Mm-hmm. And her... Yep. What's her favorite food?
Her favorite food is passion fruit.
Okay. And what's her favorite color?
Pink,
Obviously.
dark and light.
Awesome. And her...
Obviously because she has a pink dress.
Perfect. And so her date of birth was what, Molly?
Her date of birth was May 17th.
Do you want to tell them the story of the Taurus?
Yes.
Okay.
Once upon a time, there was a mad-tempered bull. And Persephone, she was going down to water her flowers. And when she came down, she saw this mad-tempered bull stomping all over her flowers. And she said, and she felt sorry for him because he was so mad. So she went up to him and said, "Can we be friends?" And Taurus said, "I've never had a friend in my life." And he was so happy.
And they became best of friends.
And they became the best friends.
And so Zeus was married to Persephone. And Zeus was so happy that Persephone had a best friend that he immortalized the bull in stars, in a constellation, and called that constellation Taurus, right?
Because his name was Taurus.
Yeah, so that was a great story. So can I show them my crazy thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did one as well.
Oh my God.
And so I chose to...
Oh my God.
Molly thinks mine looks really crazy, but I did mine, and this is mine, and this is Missy the Myclops.
Missy the Myclops.
And what is
because
she, Molly?
It's a Medusa and a Cyclops.
Yeah, so Cyclops is a one-eyed kind of monster, hey? But they didn't have girls. And then we have Medusa like
hair.
Yeah.
And these are the mouths
Yeah, cool.
that look weird.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And that's what she would look like if she was a constellation.
Up here, this is her hair.
Yeah.
And then this is her body.
Cool, eh? Okay. So we are going to sign off, but we're going to come back and do the story of Medusa for you.
Yes.
Okay. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching.